Congrats. The best version of you. Again, a new plan, a cleaner system, a version of yourself that finally gets it right. You really thought this time would be different. Yeah. Sure. And then, nothing changed. That's probably why you are here. You did everything you could and still got almost nothing back. And I'll show you why that keeps happening. You'll finally understand the real core of the problem, not some empty motivational fluff. But here's what I want to say first. Here's one truth I'm sure most people get wrong about this. The core problem usually isn't laziness, and it's not some lack of ability either. You have the wrong idea of what growth really is. You pictured it as something dramatic, fast, visible, a clear jump that finally lets you say, okay, now I'm moving. So when real life gives you something slower, quieter, way less exciting, it starts to feel like nothing is happening. And that's where people ruin themselves. Because real growth is often invisible in the beginning. Just imagine it like planting a seed. For a while, all you see is dirt. No fruit, no proof, nothing existing, just dirt. Meanwhile, underground, roots are already spreading. Something is happening, you just can't see it yet. And that's exactly where people destroy what could worked. Not out of no potential, not because the thing was dead, they just pulled it too early. And social media dumped a bunch of shit into your head and made everything worse. Everywhere you look, someone seems to be winning overnight, making money, building a business, blowing up, changing their whole life in record time. After a while, speed starts to look like proof, and that's where your brain gets poisoned. Anything slow begins to feel suspicious, quiet things starts to feel weak. Anything that doesn't look impressive right away starts to feel wrong, so the doubts kicks in. Maybe that isn't the right path, maybe I choose wrong. Oh, what I really need is a new start, a better plan, a smarter move, a different direction. That's exactly where you start killing your own momentum. And I know this because I lived inside the trap myself. For about 2 years, I kept chasing one stupid idea. That there had to be a faster way to get the life I wanted. So I kept jumping. I've tried neon signs, streaming, selling bank services, building websites, even 2 YouTube channels before this one. Every time it followed the same pattern. I had to get excited. I'd think maybe this is it. Maybe this is where everything finally changes. And the reality would move slower than the picture in my head. So I quit. Not after mastery, not after real consistency, just early. And the craziest part, I already had proof in my own life that slow growth works. Because when I really looked back at my life, the pattern was obvious. Training. I've been doing it for almost 5 years. At 15 I had first degree obesity. I used to be a fat failure. Now I have a body I can actually respect. Cooking too. I worked in food for years. Back then I couldn't really do much. Now I can move in a kitchen with confidence, cook well, stretch pizza dough in the air literally with my eyes closed. And even something as simple as growing a beard. At one point basically nothing was growing. For the first month and a half there were no results at all. People around me said it didn't suit me, told to just shave it off, but after a month of doing the same small things consistently, now I had something I genuinely like. I just failed to apply that lesson to money, career, and material progress. That's where I messed up. None of that came fast. That's the point. Everything real in my life grew the same way, slowly, quietly, and without fireworks. And that's what I had to finally understand. Just because I couldn't show the result yet, didn't mean nothing was growing. And there's one more thing we can ignore here. A small thing maybe, but honestly one of the most important in this whole topic. I'm talking about the principle of willingness and self-coercion. Let me explain. Everything I told you about, training, cooking, even growing my beard, I didn't force myself through those things. I had no discipline. I actually liked them. And it matters more than people think. I genuinely wanted to do those things. Not every second, not every day with some huge wave of motivation, but deep down I wanted that path. You can force yourself for a while, sure, but if your whole relationship with the path is just I have to, I should, don't be weak, just do it! And that feels runs out fast. You know that feeling where you were already kind of about to clean your room, and then your mom or dad walks in like, "Look at you taking your rest again! Go clean your room, mother..." And instantly something inside you just goes, yeah, I don't want to do it anymore. That's how the brain works. The moment everything turns into pressure, command, and inner shouting, your own energy starts pushing back. That's why it matters whether something is truly yours. And I need to dot the E's and cross the T's. Quitting too early and keep doing what you hate are not the same thing. If something is making you better, sharper, faster, more capable, and the process doesn't make you sick inside, then maybe the result is already there. You're just refusing to count it. Just understand, not every result shows up as money. Not every result looks like views. Not every kind of progress looks impressive from the outside. Sometimes the proof in what you've become. More skilled, solid, more dangerous than you were before. Sometimes the root is growing long before the fruit shows up. But for some reason people look at their progress and think, if I can't measure it in the way I imagined, then nothing is happening. That's bullshit. Something may already be working. You just don't respect quite progress yet. But if just 1 or 2 hours doing it leaves you drained, empty, and desperate to get away from it, if the whole thing feels wrong in your body, like something in you is resisting it at a deep level, then yeah, maybe that really isn't your path and you better change direction. That's different. Not everything is meant to be pushed through. Some things are meant to be left. So what do you actually do? If you want something real, you need to stop repeating yourself every few months. Pick one main direction, one path you are willing to stay with for the next 2 or 3 years. Not for a week, not until the next mood swing. Think of it like light. You can focus a beam in one place and over time it burns through, or you can scatter that same light everywhere and it just turns into a weak lamp. And even paper doesn't burn instantly. You still have to hold the light there long enough. Life works the same way, just slower, much slower. That's the part people hate, but reality doesn't care. It still works like that. And whether you like it or not, you have to accept it. And no, this doesn't mean your whole life has to turn into one obsessive mission. That's not the point. It would be great if you tried to grow in a T-shaped way. What do I mean? Have one main path, go deep there, become a real pro in this business, then recover like a normal human being. And don't mistake an old destructive habit for real rest. Train, watch a film, spend time with people you actually like. Resting properly is a skill too, but we'll talk about that in another video. Do something that clears your head instead of frying it even more. The goal is to stop changing direction every time reality moves slower than your fantasy. And trust me, that will happen often. That's the key. Because if the next 5 years turn into constant jumping, you may gain random experience but build nothing solid. Stay with one real path though, something you actually care about, something you can keep showing up for even when it seems to be no progress at all. And those same years can change your entire life. Just understand one thing, life is one big graph. People obsess over the spikes, but the slow, quiet rise is what really changes your life. It takes time, repetition, and involvement, but that's how it works. In the end, the winner is rarely the guy who flashed for a moment. It's the guy who didn't live. So no, you don't need another fresh start. You need to stop killing what was already growing.